Hello, welcome to this presentation on Introduction to AutoCAD Plant3D API. My name is Augusto Gonçalves and I'm a developer consultant at Autodesk Developer Network. So first, a little bit about myself. I'm a member of Autodesk DevTV team since 2008 and I'm based in São Paulo office. I'm working with .NET and many Autodesk APIs including AutoCAD Plant3D, Revit and Civil 3D. I'm also delivering a lot of API trainings, especially in Latin America. So here are the requirements you need to develop for Plant3D. First, you need Microsoft Visual Studio. There is a free Express version available for learning. You can download that version at the link you see on the screen. Also, you need .NET programming skills. For this presentation, I'm going to use C#, but you can use any other .NET compatible language. Of course, finally, you need AutoCAD Plant3D installed on your machine. Some background information. First, about the product. The Plant3D is based on plain AutoCAD, which means that you use all AutoCAD features. Also, Plant3D includes PNID, so if you install Plant3D, you have all PNID features. About the API uses .NET and includes all .NET features and programming languages. The API is based and includes all AutoCAD APIs, which means that we can use all AutoCAD related APIs on any Plant3D plugin. To develop for Plant3D, you need the SDK, Software Development Kit. For this case, we need two SDKs, the AutoCAD SDK and the Plant3D SDK. The links are on the presentation. So let's see first the AutoCAD SDK. So if you click on the link, it's going to open you the web page for that link, and you can go to Object ARX and license and download and get a copy of that SDK. The same applies for the Plant3D, so we need the SDK. If you follow the link, at the bottom you have AutoCAD Plant3D 2014 SDK installer. You can also get the other versions of the SDK. In this case, I'm going to use the 2014 SDK. So let's get started. To develop for Plant3D, we need to create a .NET C# project with Visual Studio. We have to make sure we are going to use .NET version 4.0, which is the version used for Plant3D 2014. We need to add all AutoCAD related references. AutoCAD references are platform independent, so you can choose them for both 32 and 64-bit. We also need to add the Plant3D references, but those are not platform independent, they are specific. So we need to add the reference for 32 and again for 64. So how does a plugin for AutoCAD Plant3D works? Well, we have a code in C# and we're going to use that code inside the .NET project. The .NET project includes all the references for the AutoCAD and Plant3D DLLs. Once we have the code, we can compile that code into a .NET assembly, which is a DLL. Then finally, net load this DLL inside AutoCAD Plant3D. So how can we create a command inside this plugin? The idea is we need to add the required namespaces, create a .NET method, add the command method attribute, which is an AutoCAD feature, not a Plant3D but AutoCAD feature. Then start typing our custom code. The custom code can include both AutoCAD and Plant3D related code. Finally, we compile that code, which will create a DLL, and net load inside AutoCAD Plant3D. Let's see how that works with a hands-on demonstration. So let me switch for Visual Studio 2012. Let me go to File, New Project. Note that Plant3D is compatible with .NET 4.0. So you have to choose here 4.0 and the option Class Library. Then we are going to give a name for this project. Plant3D DevTV. Simple. It can be any name. Remember not to include any spaces or special characters on the name. Then hit OK. When we create the project, we'll come with a simple class 1 file, and if we go to Solution Explorer, we can then go to References and right click on References and add the reference we need. Remember, we need two sets of references. We need AutoCAD references and Plant3D references. So add the first one. Let's start with AutoCAD. After you download the AutoCAD SDK, and you can unzip this SDK at any location of your computer. So I have here reference that I used before. Let me go to Browse and see what I have. So let's go to C. I have the SDK 2014, and I have the include files, and I have all the references for AutoCAD. We don't need them all, we just need 3 of them. In this case we need Core MGD, a CDB MGD, and a C MGD. The first one is used for AutoCAD console, and DB is database, and this is the interface one. All the 3 are for AutoCAD. Let me add them. OK. Let me hit OK first, and then add again for Plant3D. Browse, C, Plant3D 2014 SDK. My machine is a 64-bit machine, so I'm going to use them from Inc64. And I have all the .NET references that I need for Plant3D and PNID. The PNP3D is a Plant3D reference, and a PNP is a Plant, and PNID is a PNID reference. As I said, you can only add those references you need. If you're not sure which reference you're going to use on the project, just add them all. There is no problem, because they are all loaded inside the application, and you can use only those you need. For now, I'm going to add them all. So add and OK. So now I can see all the .NET, AutoCAD.NET and Plant3D.NET references. So let me just select them all except the Microsoft C# one. And all the .NET references must be set to copy local equals false. That's required. So let's go to Properties and say copy local equals false. That should do it. Okay, so let's go back to the code. Usually I don't like this name, so let me put commands in here. I prefer that way. Now we have the code ready. We just need to adjust some settings on the project. So right click on the project name and then go to Properties. So here we are looking for debug features. We can see the .NET version 4, but we are looking for debug features. We want to say that we want to start AutoCAD PNID and AutoCAD Plant3D to debug this code. So here we have to type the code for Plant3D. So if we go to the link of Plant3D, in this case, and go to Properties, we'll see that this shortcut is launching AutoCAD and saying that this is AutoCAD with the product Plant3D running on it. So we have to copy the AutoCAD path to this space and say, well, this is not plain AutoCAD, this is actually a Plant3D product. So let me go back to the properties and say this is actually a Plant3D product. Copy and paste. Now it's okay. We are launching AutoCAD EXE and saying this is a Plant3D, and the language is English US. We're almost done. Let's try just do a quick build on this project. We can see here at the output that we have a lot of warnings saying, warning, there is a mismatch between the processor architecture and the project being built. This means that the project is running on a different processor architecture different from the references. Remember that I said that Plant3D is platform specific. The references are platform specific. As I'm using only 64-bit, I have to make sure my project is also target for 64-bit. If you plan to use the 32-bit references, so you select x86, in this case x64. So let's try build again, and we don't have any warning. So we are good with all the settings for this project. We can go for our code. To start the code, usually the first step is add the references we need. Let's start with the AutoCAD namespaces. So include using AutoCAD, Autodesk, AutoCAD application services. Those are all the classes and methods related to the application. Then Autodesk, AutoCAD, then runtime, which is the runtime of the AutoCAD engine. Finally, Autodesk, AutoCAD editor input, which includes all the objects related to the command line from AutoCAD. We also need some Plant3D specific namespaces. So let's include Autodesk, Process Power, Project Manager. Using Autodesk, Process Power, Plant Instance. Okay, now we can go for the code. As I said, all the commands for AutoCAD Plant3D are regular methods and functions from C#. We just need to add a special attribute to it. So let's go with public void cmd, just a prefix, get project parts. No surprise in here. So here's the interesting part. We say command method get project parts. This means that every time the user types or try to execute the command get project parts, AutoCAD will recognize that and execute this method here. So let's start with the editor. Here are the steps. This is the application, AutoCAD application, the document manager, which contains all the documents open inside AutoCAD Plant3D. Let's get the active document, and the editor, which is the command line for that specific document. Now let's get the current project. This is a Plant3D specific, so plant project current proj equals plant application dot current project. You can see that this is AutoCAD application and this is the plant application running inside that AutoCAD application. Now get all parts of this current project. Project part collection equals current project dot project parts. So here there is a wrong name here. Let me change that. Better. Now all .NET features, all .NET collections can be enumerated through for each. We can do the same for Plant3D objects. We can do then a for each project in project part collection. You can see that the API is integrated with the .NET engine. So let's start getting the project part name. So string project part name equals current project dot project part name for this project. Now we can write that information. Editor, write message. The write message of the AutoCAD.NET APIs works very similar to string.format. So you can say project 0, which is very similar to string.format, part 1 add 2, then add project name, project part name, and project directory. So here we are writing out the project name, the part we are working with, and the directory where this part is. Now finally we can get all files of that specific part. So in this case we have a list of PNP project drawing. Let's call it DWG list equals proj dot get PNP project files, drawing files. Again we can do a for each PNP project drawing DWG in DWG list, and finally write that information. Let's just put a tab in here so you can see it better. DWG dot absolute file name. That's it. Now we have all the code working. Just like any .NET code, we can include a breakpoint at any location. Let's start in here. So this is a breakpoint, and we can start debugging this code. So let's just build it first. So here's the DLL we are using. We copy this and start debugging. Now inside Plant we can type netload and let me paste this here, and we can see the DLL. We can see there is a problem here because this DLL is not set as copy local equals false, so we have to fix this. But in this case we're not going to use system data, so no big problem, but we have to fix that later. So let's open this one. all .NET and any other application that will load on AutoCAD and any AutoCAD related product on 2014 will show this message. There is a way to avoid this message, and the best way is to use the applications plugin folder, which is the default Autodesk way to deploy applications. But you can see more about that at the blog later. So let's just load this for now. Load. And we have the new command defined here. We can see that it's fully integrated with AutoCAD Plant3D environment, and we have the new method get project parts listed here. So let's just execute. As we said, the breakpoint will stop at the first line, and we can run line by line and see what's happening, or just execute through the end with continue. That will run the whole code. So let's hit F2, and we can see that all the files will be listed. So project, sample project, part PNID at this location, and here are the files. Again, project, sample project, part piping at this location, and here are all the files, and that keep going. Let me close this and go back to the code. As I said, all the reference must be set as copy local equals false. So let me change this one that is missing. So we saw that was missing. Now it's okay. So let's go back to the presentation. Okay, you can find more information at the Autodesk Developer Center. So here's the link, autodesk.com/developer. We also have a few blogs. We have a blog for AutoCAD, which is through the interface.typepad.com. We also have an ADN dev blog at adndevblog.typepad.com. At this blog you can also find all the posts related to Plant3D. So adndevblog.typepad.com/AutoCAD/Plant3D. So here you can find all the Plant3D related topics. So let's take a quick look here. So this is the ADN dev blog specific for Plant3D. And you can see a few posts related to Plant3D. So every time you find a code like this, you can just copy paste this code and start using this code now. We can see the command method here like the other one, and we can just copy like that and just minimize and paste this code here. When you copy paste any code from the blog, you have some additional spaces. There is no big problem about this. We'll see a few errors like this one. This error is because the namespace for this pipe inline asset is not here. So you can just say, well, resolve using the namespace that we are missing. In this case, Autodesk Process Plant PNP3D objects. So that will fix this one. We can see that the namespace is added here. Or we can just type those namespaces we are missing, in case you already know which one you need. So that should fix most of the bugs. We have a few more here, the problems. So this is another AutoCAD related namespace. That should fix them all. And now you can run this very specific code. This usually the posts we do at the blog explain the code before it runs. So in this very specific sample, this is just changing the location of some valves and the specific related parts of that valve. In this case, the direction of the parts of the valve. If we build this code, we don't have any problems. So that's it. Thank you very much for watching this first DevTV on Plant3D.